Hello everyone and welcome back to the HCW YouTube channel. My name is Rate Wrestle and today we've got another UK Indie preview and we've got another company coming on, which is nice. First time I'm going to be seeing them, and that is Wulfrun. And we've got James Travers on. How are you doing?
I'm not too bad, thank you, and thanks for having me on. It's nice to be able to come and talk about the shows.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. So I've heard of Wulfrun for years, I'll be honest, but I've only just recently moved to like the Warsaw area because I used to live like Solihull, Birmingham. So it's kind of a distance, whereas now it's like a hub of I can go to shows around here.
Yeah,
Um,
this area is great because you've got Kamikaze, you've got Wrestle Midland, well, Wrestling West Mid, Pro Wrestling Midlands. I
yeah,
have to
yeah.
make sure I get the name. You've got me, you've got other shows sort of building as well. So it's a real hot, yeah, it's a hot pot of professional wrestling. It's nice to be part of it.
Yeah, it's great. Like, and it's like you guys help us out, and we help you out by like advertising the show and so forth. So we're going to be discussing the May 13th show, which will be my first ever time going to Wulfrun. And four shows have been announced, so four matches have been announced so far. And I was just looking up the venue, and I've lost it off my screen. If you can just plug the venue.
It's the Penn United Reformed Church in Penn in Wolverhampton. Basically, it's about a mile and a half outside the city centre. You'd be heading out towards sort of Stourbridge way. You get to an area where you've got, and I think just by sort of luck, my venue's got plenty of food options nearby. So if you want pizza, if you want Subway, if you want chips, if you want curry or anything like that, there's plenty like that. There's a Tesco, there's another shop as well. And if you fancy a pint, there's about two or three pubs within easy walk of each other. So we're quite lucky in terms of what we got, and I've built a lot of equity with the venue over the years
Yeah.
because so I think at the beginning there was obviously some skepticism about having wrestling there. It's not supposedly the done thing to have it
Yeah.
inside a church, but over time, because I think not just playing, not just talking it myself, but I think we put on really good shows. People come and they really enjoy coming to it because we've got sort of a unique vibe, I suppose. And we don't trash the place. People tend to,
That's
yeah,
probably best.
they tend to like us because pay for the venue on time, look after it, and if anything goes wrong, let them know straight away. So I've just built that equity with them over time.
Yeah, that's great. And tickets are still on sale. This is coming out when, well, people know it's out, but I'm going to be releasing it on Monday, just for your own basis. And I'll be putting the ticket descriptions link in below. So yeah, there's four matches announced so far, and there's a few people that you've announced that are going to be there.
Yeah,
Um,
in the words of Led Zeppelin, all will be revealed.
yeah, so we'll start on the matches that are announced, then we'll go to the people that were also going to appear at that point.
Okay.
So a lot of these guys I've seen in different veins in different places, and there's one guy in particular that comes on the show a lot, which this guy looks familiar to him. We've got Alex Connors versus Will Stevens. Um,
But I've known Alex for ages. I knew him when he was doing the hillbilly gimmick in
mm,
Coventry Pro Wrestling. I met him through that because obviously I've wrestled on those shows as well. He's moved on from there. He's gone to different things, and I think he and a lot of other people sort of struck gold when they created the health and safety gimmick, which
mm,
is it's a funny gimmick for a start, and it just really works because it can be comedy, but it's also overzealous, serious. No, this is unsafe. You must do
yeah,
this. No, stop. This is the sort of thing.
yeah,
And you've got him against Will Stevens from the Brew World Order. Now, I can't take any credit for creating the Brew World Order. That was all down to Will and to Kieran Queen. They came to me with an idea of because when I started the shows back up in October 2021, we had to have all the doors and windows open because of COVID regs.
yeah, yeah,
And it was getting cold in those venues if you were sat there all the way through. So they said people were coming asking about cups of tea and coffee. Didn't have it at the time, had it for the next show. They then came to me and said, "We'd like to do something with this about a team who their sort of main thing is tea. It's
yeah,
drinking tea, and it's all around that." Found some good music for them from Professor Elemental, which is it's a classy tune, all about the joys of tea. I think it was a cup of brown joy. It's called. So you have a
yeah,
look out for that one. And over time, they've built in confidence through doing it. They've built as a team, and now I've got this like heaven sent feud which we can build between them and health and safety. which if you watch the shows and if you've been to the shows, you've seen they've had involvement with each other over the last couple of shows, and that's going to be their sort of plan for the rest of this year. It's all about building our tag team division. First of all, I'm not saying I'm going to have tag team titles yet, but because we've got 2 belts already, we've got the men's belt, the women's belt. But having a tag team division, having great tag teams coming on, because there's other teams I could invite to come onto the show as well. But building this and having this feud going, first of all, the crowd love both teams. Now, obviously, health and safety are heels, but when they're going to sort of heels that people go, hey, I don't like them,
it's that
but
kind
I like
of gimmick,
them.
though, isn't it? The sound of it, it's
It's
just
that sort of gimmick. Yeah, and it just I think it just works. So you get the two together, and plus these guys know each other. They I'm not going to talk team they're decent about it, but they've worked together. They know what they're doing. So I think you're going to get a very entertaining match out of that.
Yeah, and all of them are very good competitors. Like Kieran, I've known for years as well from the Kamikaze. He was full on to T at that point, so I'm glad he's just brought it into his career.
Captain Kieran McQueen, he's come to it quite nicely, and they're walking out there with the cups of tea in hand. It's just the little things that make it work.
Yeah, and it's good dynamic between them. You got Kieran, the more athletic, and Will, the powerhouse, both enjoying a cup of tea.
But it's like comparing them to Hercules and Paul Roma. Only these two can wrestle.
And then obviously,
sorry, that's unfair. Paul Roma could work, and so could Hercules up to a point.
Yeah, but not as not really fluid.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and then it's going to be so Alex has mentioned, and Jamie Hayward is being roped in, I believe. He's not like a full member, is he?
Well, that's the funny thing about the Safety Council, because there is no sort of defined membership. It's people can come in and people can go out. The 2 members that people have seen so far have been Alex Connors and Kieran Young. Yeah. Kieran Young, who'd been on shows in the past, but came back in this guise, and he and Alex are shall we say, they're the de facto leaders of. But it's like, say, I suppose the Nation of Domination or some of the factions you've seen in the past where they have floating members. They have people who come in and go out.
So anyone could disappear for them at some point. Anyone in the council.
Absolutely. Just put on the high vis and see what you do.
Yeah, and we normally, with people who come on, if we have kind of like an inkling of like, if you had to go from a prediction of previous shows of who would you think would come out on top?
Ooh, put me on the spot here. Kieran versus Jamie Hayward. That's a tough one to call. I think it'll be a top quality match. I'll be honest with you, I'm going to just sit on the fence. I think both are going to be great matches that you don't want to miss, because it's the wrestling element first of all. It's also the entertainment aspects of it. That's one of the things I'm sort of really big on. Is a match is going to be entertaining, because when you go to one of my shows, the crowd can sometimes be not tough, but you're sort of trying to work out, I suppose, do I want to cheer this person? It's almost like some of them sort of sit like this and say, come on then, entertain me.
Yeah.
Which is why, say, the judge, for example, always worked, because he had this ability to piss people off. And now to make people love him. It's just a characteristic that works.
Yeah, people get so annoyed by someone they start to like them. It's just like a Stockholm kind of weird syndrome.
So I'm going to sit on the fence. It sounds like a wishy-washy answer, but obviously I don't want to give too much away.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So that's the first 2 matches have been on there. We'll move on to Harley Harris versus Alfie.
There's a match with a lot of collisions to it, because both of them can hit very hard, and you've got the sort of the set in a ways tough personality of Harley, and Alfie is just a free spirit. Best way of putting it. She's got a free spirit. She's got a unique look and a unique style, and it's basically just going to be like this, crashing into each other.
Yeah.
And again, it's just another part of my women's division that's built nicely. I've always tried to have at least one women's show on the match. It's not just say the novelty of it's gone past. When years ago with WWE it used to be, we have a women's match. It's a novelty. It's almost a toilet stop. The women's division on my show is as big a part as the men's division. there's no yay or nay about it. I may sometimes have more male matches than female matches, but that's just because of the way the show's booked. But the women's title and the men's title, they're on a par. It's not one above the other. They're both the same. So this match gets as much attention as the two matches we've spoken about and the contracts and the case match. So they all get the same level of this is a big match. You need to see this.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I've never seen either one of them live. I've seen a few Alfie matches, a few on YouTube and so forth, Brawl. And people have been speaking very highly of Harley Harris. We're speaking to Malachi from Kumite on a recording the other day, and they speak very highly of her. So it sounds like it's going to be a really good match.
She's come on leaps and bounds. I met her again. Met her at CPW. The benefit of having done wrestling myself is I've met a lot of people. So the contacts I've made have then been people who've wrestled on Wulfrun shows, like Harley, like Alfie, who I've met through CPW and other shows. And they have, I think, if they have a character that works, first of all, that works because I think Wulfrun shows are very character driven, but
Yeah.
also they can work. They know what they're doing in the ring. They're very skilled in the ring. So it makes a show that works. I
Yeah, and
think.
it's going to be fun. Like as I said, I do like a hard hitting matchup, and from what I've heard from both, it will be. I'm assuming you'll be on the fence on this one as well.
Yeah, pretty much. It's partly because obviously I'm the promoter,
Yeah,
also I'm the booker. So yeah, it'd be like going inside football, wouldn't it? I don't want to
yeah,
give away
yeah.
too much.
That's fair enough.
But I'm saying it's another one you want to see because you'll find yourself sitting there and going, "Blooming heck, that was a move and a half,"
Yeah.
and words like face.
Okay, yeah. So adding big things with that, and then one match that just looks incredible. It just looks stupidly good. So we've got the six-man matchup, which is David Grant versus Lucas Cashmere versus CJ Rollins versus Regan versus Cole Kingsley versus Jake Lennox. So I've saw 5 of the 6 competitors before. Jake Lennox is a bit of a novelty to me. I've not seen him or even heard of him previously. But like the 5 other people I've seen this, like they're all amazingly good in the ring. Like to
Mm.
throw them all together is going to be incredible.
Well, the way it's styled is it's like the elimination chamber. So you have two people starting,
Okay.
but so it's an idea that I had, and I think NXT maybe followed it in terms of the way they did it, where
Yeah.
you have two people starting, then you have every 3 minutes time interval, someone else comes in, and you can be eliminated at any time. Basically, last man standing after everyone's entered.
Yeah.
They win the match, and their contract's in the case holder, which means anytime the next year they've got that briefcase to cash in for a title opportunity. I've had this I've had this sort of concept 3 times. Twice it's been a successful cash in, the other time not so much.
Yeah, and just like the talent that's in that ring, like all of them are like mainstays of the West Midlands scene. All of them like people like Regan and David Grant are hard hitters. CJ Rollins is incredible.
Yeah.
It's just going to be. It's one of the matches that you just need to see it. There's more people in it.
Basically, you've got 3 bulldozers and 3 guys who can flip, flop, and fly. I mean, I've obviously I've had all of them on before. Jake Lennox, you won't know so much about him, but
Yeah,
he's got a lot of ability. He's very well built, but he can fly and he can do big moves. Lucas Cashmere staggers me every time I see him for what he can do. CJ Rawlings, he's that nice mix. He's had so many issues over the years, and he won't mind me talking about it because he's been a very open book about it. He's overcome that. He's got himself in tremendous shape. He's working as hard as he can, and he keeps having stellar match after stellar match. I saw him wrestle James Mason not that long ago, and it was such a good match. Not just because, yeah, and this is the case, not just because James Mason was
yeah,
making him look good, but because CJ was out there and he was matching him step for step. And then you get to the big guys, David Grant and Carl Kingsley, brick shit houses basically. They are
yeah.
big guys. They're very very powerful. And then you take Regan, who is also psychopathic.
Yeah, it's
So
putting
you've
it
got
lightly.
a real.
Yeah. It's going to be really good. As I said, CJ Rollins, like I've only recently in the last year seen him live a few times, but every time it's been like match of the night kind of like caliber matches. He's really good in the ring.
Yeah,
Um,
you get that, and then with Regan, you get, like I said, the sort of psychotic power,
yeah,
but he's agile as well. In fact, there's agile people in all of them. There's no one who's a big lump.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a match where I try not to have too much in the way of high flying stuff, but my sort of philosophy, my rule with the wrestlers on the show is don't leave the room, but as long as you don't climb on anything and don't jump on the audience, you're absolutely fine.
No, that's a good way of going about it. And this, like, it's a very much a mixture of this match as well, which is like a hybridy kind of like powerhouses flying. Like it just looks a very good match to see.
Plus, this match is also no disqualification, so
Didn't know that.
there's that added element to it as well.
So that rounds off the four matches that have been announced. All very good matches on paper, so I'm looking forward to them. As said, first time actually being there. And then there's four people that are announced for the show. So obviously, unless you want to go through them.
Right, Chase Alexander is the Wulfrun Pro Wrestling champion.
Yeah.
He won the championship a year ago in a battle royal. You've got Shauna Shea, who has been champion since I think last over a year. I know that much.
Yeah.
The women's championship had to be taken off Chantel Jordan because she wasn't able to be on the show, and we had to we had to have a women's champion. So one night sort of, it was actually Mia Cortez who won it, but Shauna cashed in a contract in the case, and she won. So Mia Cortez says his championship reign was about 1 minute and 30 seconds or something like that. So that's where that is. I mean, Shauna and Chase are there basically to gloat and say, "Aren't we great?" But what you've got is you've got RC Chaos, who was the previous male champion, who's got a history with Chase Alexander, and you've got Mia Cortez, who definitely has a history with Shauna Shea. So I'm not going to say these matches might not happen, but they're going to turn up, speak their cases, and then we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it looks like it's going to be a big thing. Weirdly enough, Karen.
I think it's just called "You've got to be there to see it."
Yeah, I can't give away everything. That's what you pay to go see it. Weirdly enough, with RC Chaos, he's a big friend of the show, but I've never actually seen him wrestle, which is mental.
What's what I talk about when I say people who are talented, who've got entertaining gimmicks and that. Becoming the king of the dark fruits really did him a thing. Becoming. I mean, I've seen him as captain RC Chaos, El Capitano, call it what you will, but the dark fruits elbow. I'm actually the first person who did that on because I've wrestled with the Iron Serve elsewhere, and we're in a match. I was down on the mat. And I suddenly saw him do the people's elbows hands. He ran across shouting, "The darkest of fruits, the darkest of elbows," or whatever it was. And I was thinking, what in God's name is going on? But he's made it work since. It's just those little things that work. Plus, he's got charisma and character, got great music. I mean, he uses Rock the Night by Europe, which is a hell of a tune to use. And there's something about his personality that gets people to want to cheer him. Chase Alexander was a face. He was very much loved by the crowd. And so when he turned heel, when he kicks RC Chaos in the face out of nowhere, that was the proof of how good he is. Because he went from everyone loving him to everyone hating him. Hear the reaction when he comes out, just gets booed all the way. Shauna, same thing. She was, the nice Leicestershire Fox, and then she lost her rag with the audience and started doing the Mistress of Fitness gimmick, and again, that works. Mia Cortez, she has a real mystique to her. She's the angry dragon lady, and it just works nicely. She's got this great character, this great sort of aura to her that again, and high energy as well. Crowd lover. One of our regulars, Ian, he's become great friends with her, and he will always be there to watch her and to cheer her on. So that's something about these four people. Whatever sort of happens on the show.
No, yeah, and what I've liked to when you've explained it, like everything sounds like it makes sense. Like everything like works away, like it's not just random.
No, I have been told this. I mean, there's a lot of sort of thinking that goes into it. Basically, Wulfrun Pro Wrestling is me. It's my sort of idea, my vision. And this is from 30 years of watching wrestling, and obviously 15 years of being in it and seeing how certain shows run and getting my own ideas of it. Having my own sort of idea of the sort of show I want to put on. Basically, I put on the sort of show I'd want to see in terms of the matches, in terms of the people on there, in terms of the audience, what the audience might want. And I think 90% of it lands, 10% of it doesn't. That's a good ratio to have. If I can make it 95% landing, then that's fantastic. But I try to put on basically a show that I like.
Yeah, it makes sense. Like, you'll have some people that have just like just go for like matches, just like dream matches, one night only, kind of never seen it again, kind of thing. Or you have like things that carry on
Yeah.
and not build
But here's the thing about once in a lifetime matches. Do you know how much they blooming cost?
a lot.
Yeah. So it's all balancing expectations. Now, if I wanted to book an ex-WWE person, I could, but they cost quite a lot. Whereas you can have people like RT Chaos and Chase Alexander, Lucas Cashmere, Regan, people like that, who are they could be at that level if they wanted to be, but they're still good enough to be they're good enough to be at high levels, and they do work at high levels, but they also work for my show. I had Millie McKenzie on. Well, actually, no, she is Millie McKenzie now these days.
Yeah, yeah.
I had her on a few months ago, and the reception for that, I had Nightshade on the last show. She started out with me and CPW, and she's gone on to really big shows elsewhere. So dream matches do happen. I've just got to be smart though about what I put on because it costs money.
Yeah, and dream matches are fair enough, but like I like more of a story build. Like I don't
Mm.
mind like see on the odd occasion there is dream match where you go, oh that'd be good. But like having a story build that continues through a kind of builds up after a few months is always brilliant to see.
Oh, absolutely. One of the best stories we've had at Wulfrun was TJ Sky and Liam Perrin. It
Mm,
started out with an argument between the two, built and built and built, and then over a year it was interfering in matches and being involved in each other's matches, and then they had a match on the I think it was the third anniversary show. Uh, no, second anniversary show because the third never happened because of COVID.
yeah.
We don't need to go into that. But they had that match, and then at the next show they had a wolf and strap match. Both had a strap attached to their arm, and they had an absolutely brilliant match. They whipped each other with it, and apparently it does hurt when
Yeah.
you whip each other. It was just a brilliant combination to a storyline and build. So yeah, I'm with you. I like storylines that sort of build and build and have a definitive ending.
Yeah, it's just builds and you said like the escalation kind of gets you drawn towards it.
I think the biggest thing is what is wrestling? You're paying to see two people fight. They're going to have a reason to fight. It could just be, well, I want to face you and I want to face you. That's fine. If there's something at stake, or if it's pride at stake or a title at stake or something like that, it kind of makes more sense.
Hmm.
I think.
No, definitely. So that's the general gist of what's going to be happening at Wulfrun. I'm very much looking forward to the show. The link for the tickets will be in the description.
Yeah.
Is there anything we've had you wouldn't see, but we've got your the Facebook handle underneath your yourself at the moment. Is there any other places you want to plug while you're on?
We're on. Well, we're on Twitter. I mean, I don't use it a lot, but Twitter and Instagram, but they're more just for advertising the
Yeah.
shows. So Instagram this week, you will see the matches going up. You'll see what's happening on the show, and you'll be able to sort of get involved and see
Hmm.
as the DMs are always open on Facebook if you want to get in touch through that. Very quick to reply back if
Yeah.
you can. If that's just booking seats, but here's the little thing: we don't sell tickets. We don't sell physical tickets. We book seats. So when you pay your money to come to a Wulfrun show, you get a seat reserved. You
Yeah.
got your name on it. You sit down on it, and that's where you are. I've been lucky in a way that built the audience over time. So there's a group who would started out as just two people, and it's been more than 20 people for several shows since, because their mates told their mates
Yeah.
told their mates told their mates, and it just built from there. But
No.
so yeah, that's how we're contactable, and I'm always happy to chat. If you want to come ask me questions about Wolf and Pro Wrestling, it's a thing I've built that's got a lot of girth behind it.
Yeah, and I'm very much looking forward to see it.
Good
Um,
man.
so yeah, that's the end of the preview, everyone. As usual, like and subscribe. Our socials are everywhere. Wulfrun socials will be in the description as well. Anyone else you want to come on at some point, just let us know. But once again, thank you for coming on, James. It's really helped the show.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for having me. It's always good to talk about Wulfrun, and look forward to seeing you on 13th.
And I'll see you there. Thank you.